Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 2 of this Cities Skylines series, and this is attempt number 7 at recording this episode because the amount of issues that I've had with performance in the game that caused it to crash, saves not working, and then to add to that, the second episode that I actually did record didn't record. So as you can see, based off of the last episode, I have a few more roads and buildings that have been constructed since then. So unfortunately, I've just got to continue because there wasn't a separate save and this was the last auto save that I had. But just to recap what happened since then, I constructed the rest of the coastal road. I've added a medical clinic into the middle of this residential section. The cemetery just outside, over in the corner here. There's some commercial area on the outside and some housing. Now, one thing that I did try and that I noticed, which was quite interesting, the game gives you the option to construct housing on cliffs. So if you look at these squares, I wouldn't understand why that would be an option. But like these two here, when you add a residential zone there, which I'll do as a test, it seems to automatically raise the terrain and build a house on top, which is very surprising, and they actually do look quite good. So I'm going to leave these 3 there as a test. So there's 2 being constructed here. Well, there's actually 3. And then there's an extra one here. And then I'll leave that for a while, and potentially I might end up building all along this coastal road on the outside, depending on how the rocks look and how the landscape looks afterwards, because it might look terrible. So I'll jump straight back into this episode, and at the moment I've got it paused, which is fine, because I want to build the waste management system, which I don't really build the system, but building a landfill site and getting the trucks out to clear people's rubbish, which I haven't actually had any complaints about. Now on Skylines 1, as soon as you had the option available, I would get complaints from every household that trash isn't being collected. But I don't know if there's a bug in the game or that's not happening, or there's different ways that the citizens manage their trash. Not a clue. However, I am going to build the landfill site. In order to do that, I need to expand the tiles because I want to build up in the top area. So if we just open the map tiles, I want to build industry up in this section, and then after that I want to expand to the right so we can start constructing more of a city in this area. So for now I will unlock these 3, and that's all of my map tiles used. And then what we'll do is we'll build the road further up from here. Now I think what's best is to have this landfill site constructed right next to the highway. It causes a lot of pollution, as you can see by the brown circle around the outside. So we want to avoid having that near any residential zone. I'm going to place 2 roads just next to the landfill site. Now I'm not going to build anything at the back of this, purely because from what I understand you can extend the landfill site. So I'll just move this around just to make sure we're not overlapping. And there we go. So there's an option on here to adjust the dumping area of landfill, which I believe is here, and you start coming back this way. However, I have noticed that it doesn't give me a cost. There's a storage capacity, but it doesn't say how much it costs to expand the landfill lot. It could be free, I don't need to risk it yet because I've only just placed this down, but I guess when you press the button to drag an insert, the cost might appear. Not a clue. So we'll leave that for now. And then what I'm going to do is just build this road further out to connect to this road. This will give us some more options for industry zoning in this area, which I am actually going to do via separate roads. I'm not sure how to do this road yet because I don't want to lose any squares. I guess I could put it in the middle there. Let's try that. We'll put it at 90 degrees. That doesn't look too bad. Now, that's all I'm going to do for the industry area for now. I'm going to resume the game. So, for those of you who didn't catch episode 1, I don't usually leave the game to roll in terms of time unless I need the money. For example, at the moment I'm losing money, which isn't good. So the more I leave the game running and the slower it takes me to build roads, place buildings, the more money I'm going to lose, which is bad. So what I'm going to do is pause it every time I build sections, and then once we start increasing the population and I get the options to control taxes and control how much goes towards electricity, water, etc., then I'll start leaving the game running, because I'll know that I can sort of make, even if I make it evens on the finances rather than loss. So we will try that. But for now, we have a slight demand for some residential, which is actually being constructed. I don't know whether the demand counts for when you place the tile or for when the houses are built, but regardless, I'm going to build some more anyway. So what I'm going to do is fill in this area and this area, and potentially this square as well. It must be when you place the squares down, because now the demand is reducing and the increase for commercial is going back up, which I am going to keep in this small section here. So my idea is to have residential, commercial, and then residential at the other side, and then I might place a commercial square just down in this corner. One of the issues that I've noticed in this build is the section I've built here. I've left no space for a road to join into a potential section in this area, which means, and I know people that have played the game before will probably be shouting at the screen right now, I've placed the industry over this side with no residential and only one road connecting this whole area, which means people that go to work are going to have to drive all the way down this main road, all the way across just to get to work, and the same with goods that are going to have to travel all the way down here to the commercial zones. That's going to cause traffic issues eventually. However, I might end up placing some residential zones over in this area instead. So we will see how that goes. I'm not sure how to go about that yet. In terms of this section, what I have to do is join a road from the cemetery and potentially one from this main road in the centre. And we're just going to have to ignore the fact that these residents can't jump across, because I don't really want to destroy a house. It's pointless really at this stage. So looking at this area, my idea originally was to duplicate this circular residential area into this section, but on second thoughts I don't think it's going to work, just purely because of this section here. it will clash with the cemetery. Instead, I'm going to follow the same path as before. We're going to use the continuous curve to place roads going around this coastal area and joining this road over here. And I think the best place to start that would be from this corner. And I'm very unsure of how this complex curve roading works at the moment. I don't know whether to skip this actually or bring it in from here just to make the curve. Let's try it. So if we bring the road out to this section, the curve doesn't work as much as I would like it to. I don't know whether you have to bring it out to here to make the curve. No, I think the angle is going to be a bit too tight to make a curve in this section. So what I might do is bring it round from here. And we might just have to it's claiming that there's overlapping items somewhere. Okay, what is that? We have something in the road here. Or in the way of the road. Ken. I have absolutely no idea what that is. It looks like a pile of rocks. And it's just in the middle of what I'm building. Interesting. Okay, instead, what I'm going to do, I will bring the road straight out from here to maybe this point. And then what I can do is potentially build a park in this area, just to keep the citizens happy, and I'll ignore whatever that rock is going on there. I think the same for this section. I don't see the point now in bringing a curved road just to go around one corner. So if we bring, maybe we'll have a little bridge. I'll keep the road at 180 degrees. And then if we just have a look at this, that's fairly nice, a little bridge. If needs be, I can make some water travel through here just to make that a bit more interesting. And cars are already starting to use this section. Now I think these roads are different, so we're going to need to upgrade, replace. I'm just seeing what there used to be an upgrade tool, and I don't know if that's been replaced. Those of you who've already played the game probably know this information, but I'm fairly new to Skylines itself, so I'm still learning as we go. I did play Skylines 1, but not very often, and very rarely built up the city and got to a high population, so I'm going to think it's replace, which looks similar to the upgrade module, which it's doing the same job. And I don't like actually what that's just done, so let's pause the game. I think that was my fault, or it was the upgrade. But I want to keep the same, the straightness in the road. So that'll do for now. I don't want to bother upgrading this road because we haven't unlocked the tiles yet. But I think it's good to have the bigger road for where the cars will be using. Now, we'll resume the game. Planning this area, I think I might follow the contour of the road that's going here which means I will make this a complete curved section, and I want to do it in line with this bottom section here, which is going to be tough because there might be a way of doing this that other people know of, but I don't know how you can use, for example, this road here. I want to use that as a marker for building this road, and I don't think it's going to give me the option to snap and do that automatically. So I'm going to play a guessing game. That looks... it looks roughly the same. I think as long as it's similar, that's okay. And we'll do the same at this end. At least I've got the marker here. Now that this road, although I think we'll just spin the camera around here. Although I'm doing everything at 90-degree angles and trying to keep everything straight, that still looks very off. This is likely due to the actual terrain and the way it lands, so I'm going to delete that road. And I'm going to make it the same as the road here. The curve might be different actually on this end. Let me just see. I want the curve to follow the same curvature of the lines on the edge, but let's keep it see if we go to 90 degrees now, we're looking very off. So I'm going to have to use visual clues to see when this is going to be straight. That looks straight. Let's try this and see how it looks. If we just zoom out a little bit. Oh, that's too much. I don't think that looks too bad. Obviously at the moment it looks strange because it's one. Oh, and we've hit the small village milestone, number 2. So let's see what we've got with that. 700,000, which is nice considering we're losing money every day. 4 map tokens and 2 of the development points. I forgot what they were for a second. We've also, by the looks of it, got an increased loan limit. Taxation is unlocked, which is very good. Medium density housing. Education and research, which is schools. Okay, that's very good to know. So in terms of the education and schools, the purpose is to have more knowledgeable citizens that then earn more money, they help businesses grow, and you get more, the businesses bring in more money. It has an impact on the overall wealth and the buildings in your city, for example. I don't see the point in building them now, purely because I'm losing money. What I'm going to do is wait until I start making money down here. As you can see, I'm losing 2,715. Once that's in the positive, then I'll start adding things like schools and the essentials into these areas. I just think that's for the best. In terms of this area here, I'm not too happy with this road. So I'm actually going to delete this main road. And I'm going to copy, if I can, So it comes to there. That looks a little bit better. It's not the best, but it's better than it was. So now I'm going to add some sections into here. I'm just trying to think about how best to do this. You'll notice that the game, you might have noticed that the game lags every now and then. It seems when I load the game, actually, it takes a good 3 to 5 minutes for the game to actually get everything loaded, have everything rendered, whatever it's doing in the background, and you can't even move the camera, and then all of a sudden everything's just smooth. I don't know whether that's the game, the settings that I've got it on, which I've adjusted 1,000 times to try and get this game just to work somewhat efficiently. But just in case you notice it freeze at any point. So I think what we're going to do here is keep this as a main road going down, and then I will build, I need the straight road tool selected. You might have noticed that I haven't really used any other road types, and that's because I think the 2-lane road is enough at the moment. If we need to upgrade, I will in the future, but for now we'll leave it at this. So the question is, do I make these roads go across the whole length, or do we make them, I think I'm going to make them go up in the middle. The problem is now I have to count the squares and do this the same way. So it looks like we've got about 12 squares there. We'll get that in line. Which I no longer see the line, it must be... Let's see how far we've gone using the lines as a marker here. So it's just touching the other end of the circle, which is helpful. So there, that's a lot easier than the way I was trying to do it. And then we will join these roads, and I think let's join these roads as well. This gives us enough space to build. It doesn't look the best when you see the roads aren't perfectly curved and straight, but just like this section, once it builds out with potentially commercial in the middle and residential all around the outside, it will look nicer, because when I first built this, it didn't look perfect with the roads. But that reminds me, while we're here, I'm just going to take a look at the economy section, because I want to see how much we're losing still. It looks like we're negative 65,000 a month. So what I'm going to do is actually, I might get called out for doing this, but I'm going to increase taxes. I used to, on Skylines 1, I used to increase everything to 13% for residential, commercial, and then industrial I used to increase to 15% as soon as the option was there. I don't know how the game is going to react to this, so I'm only going to do it to 11 and 12 for industry. Just for now. What happens when I start making a considerable amount of profit a month, I will reduce the taxes. Probably for commercial, because I'd like to encourage unique businesses to start. I don't know how the game works with that, but We'll have to see as that goes. So if I just jump into the finance menu again, I don't think that's changed the amount too much. It's increased the gap a little bit, but not too much. And as you can see by the demand bar, which I have been ignoring currently, this is the problem that I have with not pausing the game, because you try to focus on doing one thing and in the background several other things are blowing up, like the demand for everything. So we're going to add some industry, and I am going to pause while I do this just to make sure everything's handled at the same time. So we'll make this section all industry here, and I'll also put some on the edge. We need more commercial, which I'm going to place, I think, some in this square. That should do for now. And then we also have requirements for medium density housing and low density housing, which I will place in these sections. And let's see how that impacts the demand for now. Everything's coming down. I don't know how much it's going to go down by. We've still got the demand for medium density housing. The only issue I've got is I don't know where I want to put medium density housing yet. I would like these all to be low density on the edge, but I might have to put medium density over in this area. So looking at the map, I think my idea is to have a city area over on this section, and then these being the kind of suburbs that you have to travel through. So I'd like to keep these as low, but if the demand's there, I don't know if that means I have to start using it in order to start advancing the city. That's the problem. I might start putting some, if we unlock these tiles next, I might start putting some here as we gradually get towards the middle, but we'll leave it for now. And I did just notice before moving on that the houses on the cliff have been constructed. Now if you remember when I added this to the square in the beginning, there was no rock underneath, and it seems the game has automatically built a cliff with some carved teeth in the rock. They're not shadows, they're for some reason carved into the rock. But the houses are actually, it's quite impressive the way they build the long gardens, and I noticed over here they've actually put decking on the end over the cliff, which is what you would expect somebody to do if they had the view of a lake or a river, whatever it is, like that. So I think they look good. I don't think it's wise to put them all around the outside yet, but it's certainly an option going forward. So for now I'll leave that as it is. Demand again has shot straight back up. Hasn't even given me a minute to breathe, which is good. Let's just zoom out and take an overview of this city. I think we'll finish zoning these areas out first before moving on to this section. I haven't noticed any issues with electricity and water yet. I don't know whether that's because I'm not clicking the right thing or not seeing anything. I know when you click on electricity, it says that electricity availability is 0 and everything's on 0, so it looks like nothing's working. Yet when I click on the transformer station, which is over here, I don't know what I've just done there. I think I've just built a power line by mistake, which is good. Now I'm going to have to try and delete that without... Anyway, so the transformer station, which is here, efficiency 100%, capacity 80, usage 6%. In my mind that means it's working, whereas the electricity availability is in red because production is 0%. However, if that was the case, all of these houses I am sure would be unhappy and I would have alerts saying that there's no electricity. Instead, there's no alerts and everybody's happy. Is this a bug? Am I reading something wrong? Not sure. I just have noticed I want to put some more residential properties around the outside of here. And I will save this square for a school perhaps. And I will also save one of these squares for a school. And I've just noticed for the first time orange on the road over here, which I believe is a traffic problem, which isn't showing under roads, but it was showing under zoning for some reason. Or actually, this might mean something different. Resident suitability, good areas for zones in terms of workplace and city services. I would assume that because I'm on the zoning section, that this means it's a medium suitability for residents rather than traffic. Even though there are a lot of cars parked on this street as well. Yeah, it's not very clear. I've noticed it's quite hard to understand unless you look up these nuances online to understand what they are. It's quite hard to gauge this yourself, because for me, having an orange road with lots of cars on, I would think the traffic's bad, not access to work or suitability of the neighbourhood. I would then expect the actual houses to show up orange. We'll leave that for now. It's not an issue. Instead, what I'm going to do is build out some more commercial zoning, which is tricky because I don't know where to put. I'm going to put one there actually, just for fun. I might place one. I'm going to place one on one of these cliffs just to see how the game builds it. Let's try it there. We can have 4 shop areas. Whether they have coffee shops or I don't know what they build, but we can have a nice view of the river. That works. And let's place some more residential zoning. We'll do low density again, and we'll place that. I'm conscious of building too much over here without having some commercial in there, so I think I'm going to make these residential and also this section. That works. I like the fact. Oh, what's happened here? Pop musician mansion. The terrace of this house is perfect for parties. For the parties, the pop is perfect for the parties. The pop star living here loves to throw. For some reason, I couldn't read English there. So, where is that then? I'm not actually sure what that notification was referencing to. Is this a building type you can build? Is it a signature building? Which I don't think I've... Oh, I have unlocked them. Pop Musician Mansion. How much does it cost? I'm fairly certain this can't be free. I don't see any price added to it. Let's see. Yeah, as I said, I don't know if this is free, but I don't think, unlike the other buildings that construct on the edge, I don't think you can place it. It will construct buildings, but you can't place a building on the edge. I don't think I'm going to add this in anywhere here. Maybe in the centre of this section as something new, but yeah, not yet. I don't think there's any need. Let's put some more commercial down. I'll put them in this section. And then I'm going to place some residential over here to increase that population. Now it looks like these are building... So I'm building low density housing. That's the zone I'm selecting. However, it looks like it's building row housing. This one here. I could be wrong, but that's just what it looks like. Or perhaps it isn't. Perhaps they're just small plots where these houses fit, and then some people might have an upgraded house. Okay. I think at that point I'm going to leave it there, and when I come back for the next episode, hopefully if everything's worked, I will start building out this section and this section over here. But for now, if you like watching this series, please subscribe and drop a like, and I will see you in the next one.